Welcome to Style Masterclass, the podcast that teaches women to look stylish and feel confident so that they can show up ready to conquer and slay no matter what size they are. I'm your host, Miss J. You ready? Hello. Today's topic is all about how do you get dressed up again? This is something that is coming up for a lot of my clients in Style Masterclass, where I teach women to love and dress the body they are in right now. And a lot of people are venturing out again. They're going to in-person meetings, in-person conferences, retreats. They're going to be around the people they love again. And what has sort of set in is this fear, this worry, stress, if you will, about how do I get ready again? How do I get dressed up again? I mean, I'm kind of out of practice. I stopped wearing lipstick during the pandemic. I stopped getting dressed up. So how do I do this again? And I totally understand. I think this is going to be a question so many people are going to be asking themselves as we march, however slowly, out of the pandemic. So here's what I want to offer you today. I want to give you 3 steps for how to get dressed up again. And definitely there's going to be a mindset component to this and some practical tips. So let's dive in. Number 1, let's define what we mean by dressed up. I think this is going to be so important, especially as we march out of the pandemic. Getting dressed up is just going to be a different experience. Dress codes have changed in a lot of places. And really, I want you to kind of embrace that you get to redefine dressed up for yourself all over again. Some of you are going to be like, bring me the sequins and the feathers and the bold colors and all the things, right? You're like, dressed up is going to mean like dress to the nines. You are the show, boo-boo. For some of you, it's going to be like, I'm going to shower. I'm going to put on my favorite bra because thanks to Miss J, it actually fits now. And I'm going to wear my cleanest white sneaks, right? That's going to be dressed up for some of you. But here's a beautiful thing is if we've learned anything during this pandemic, sometimes what we thought was like, that's how things are done became that's not how we do things. And we're much more adaptable than we thought. So I want you to be adaptable with your definition of dressed up. Dressed up, again, gets to mean I get to redefine what dressed up even means. Now, for myself personally, I'm going to fully embrace all the vintage goodness that I can. I'm actually sewing my own wardrobe for the spring, and it's a delight of gingham and fuchsia and florals. I am going to be like the show. That's my version of dressed up. I'm going to bust out my vintage hats. I'm going to carry my handbags on my arm again because I'm not going to be so concerned with, God forbid, it should touch something and then I have to wipe the whole thing down, leave it in a room, leave it in the sunshine. It's just going to be different. And that part is the part I want you to embrace. The fact that this might just feel different, be different, is totally okay. And think of this as a beautiful thing that you get to redefine this for yourself and play with this again. And if dressed up again means going back to the way things were for you in terms of how you dressed before in the before times, totally okay. And if some of you are like, I don't want to go back to that, you don't have to. Number 2, and I think this is actually really my giving you so much grace. It's okay if you're a little stressed out about this. It's okay if you got an invitation to something and you suddenly were like, oh shit. Like suddenly there's invitations to birthdays and brunches and conferences and different things. I don't want you to avoid these things because you think you don't know how to get dressed anymore. That's simply not true. In fact, I want to let you know you probably have more muscle memory than you're giving yourself credit for. You've got some skills in that toolbox that you're probably not giving yourself credit for. At one point, you probably totally did know how to do your hair to go out and see other humans in real life. chances are you haven't lost that skill. That mad skill you had to create the perfect cat eyeliner, you probably have more muscle memory than you think to recreate that look. There are things that you did before that likely if you just started to practice them again, it would feel a little more natural than you might think. Applying lipstick again. Those things will come back to you, my friend. Some of it's going to be like riding a bicycle. And I just really want to encourage you that as you get more invitations and there's opportunities to be dressed up again, that you start to practice at home. Because I think for some of us, and as much as I tell you all this all the time, that like you get dressed for you, you smell you see you, your opinion matters the most. I think for some of you, you get that intellectually, but emotionally you're like, but still, I'm really dressing for other people. And that's totally okay if you're not totally adopting that mindset that you see you, your opinion matters the most. So I don't want you to stress yourself out that suddenly there's going to be some external opinions about how you're looking and that suddenly you have forgotten how to do all the things. It's simply not true. You probably have more muscle memory than you're giving yourself credit for. And the best way to retain muscle memory or to build up your makeup skills muscles, your accessorizing muscles, your hairdo muscles, whatever it is to practice. So you can rebuild that skill set up. Some muscle memory remains, but also practice, practice, practice. And third, so we've talked about you getting to redefine what dressed up again means, you getting to play and practice and build up some muscle memory again. And 3, maybe this is the perfect opportunity for you to have a dress rehearsal. Here's some practical style version of this. Let's do a little dress rehearsal. If we're going back into the show, and the show must go on, my darlings, and you are the leading lady of your show, then lead like a lady. You gather the people to you. Let's do a practice run. And here's what I mean by that. Call up your friends and tell them, we're going to do a dressed up practice run. And they're going to be like, what the hell do you mean? You're like, I heard from this lady on the internet and it sounded like a good idea. Invite your friends over and tell them to get dressed up on purpose. Everyone's going to bring out their glad rags, their best stuff, their best jewelry, their best shoes, their best suits, their best dresses. Like everybody's going to pull from that archive their best stuff. Do their hair bomb, do their makeup bomb, wear that really good perfume, all the good stuff. And here's the funny thing is like, pull this together quickly. Like, don't overthink this. Get some drinks, get some hors d'oeuvres, some canapes. Maybe everybody agrees that they're just going to DoorDash from their favorite place once they arrive. So nobody has to freaking cook, right? Just use some food delivery service to everybody order their own shit, but we're all arriving at this one spot at the same time. And we're going to practice getting dressed up. And we're going to practice being in social situations again. And we're all going to recognize that we're might low-key uncomfortable. Maybe we think this is a little silly, but it's worth it to get dressed up again. I certainly think so. And I want you to go practice this. So your Glam Gal mission, should you choose to accept it, is to be the leading lady who gathers the troops and says, we are going to practice getting dressed up again. And we're going to do it on purpose. And we're going to do a practice run. This is a dress rehearsal before the big show. And you will get an opportunity to practice, practice, practice. And everybody will get an opportunity to define for themselves what dressed up again means as we re-enter the world and real life situations. All right, y'all, that's what I have for you this week. Miss J out. Thank you for listening to today's episode. To learn more about how to work with me, go to judithgaton.com. Click on the Start Here button to get access to my free personal style class. I give you a quick style win, a confidence boost, and you walk away with the tools to start getting stylish. Who doesn't love that? See you there. Miss J out.